what happens when you step back and let the water lead the way. I'd like to thank the Process Art Discovery audience for joining me today. We're going to take a really close-up look at what happens when water and pigment play together on the page. It's really one of the favorite ways that I like to spend time painting. It allows me to look at things intuitively. If I let the water lead the way, often things just happen on their own, and that for me is a good thing. So I'm going to really wet my Daniel Smith colors in my palette. The colors that I love to use, that I've built such a strong relationship with, of course, are my Mayan dark blue, my Undersea Green, and my Quinacridone gold, Quinacridone purple, Moonglow. Those are the rich colors that I really love. There's some Aussie red gold that can do some amazing things as well. And most of those pigments are granulating, which helps. But today, I just felt that it would be really good for us to take a close-up look at what happens when we allow the water and the paint to move around. It's how I love to create my trees when I do vignettes. And recently I just came back from a workshop that I facilitated where we did some vignettes and some trees, and I noticed that many people struggled with that concept of just letting things transpire on the page. And so I thought, you know, a close-up look at that would really be fun to do. So this is the spray bottle that I use. You can buy them at any dollar store, any craft store. I like these for this style of painting because this is adjustable, this nozzle. Often you can get them where there's an on or an off, and that's not ideal for this process. And also these continuous mist bottles are not great because you get an overall coverage with the spray. These are great for misting your colors, your pigments, and for overall, if you wanted to really consistently wet a large surface. But for this, we don't want that. We want droplets of water. We want a good amount of droplets to converge on the page, or not converge, but to land on the page without having to reapply it at some point a little further down the road. It's just when you reapply, it changes the dynamics of things as well. So I'm just going to move my paper aside for 1 second, and this is what I want. I want the droplets to come out in just random. And sometimes I will turn my my bottle at a bit of an angle and just allow the water to spurtle. That's the word I came up with at the workshop, and everybody loved that one. So we're spurtling, and we're just allowing those droplets to fall on the page. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll just clean this off a little bit. Today I'm working, as I said, with my Daniel Smith paints, and I'm going to be using my Arches cold press rough. Okay. This technique will work on pretty much any kind of kind of paper, I suppose, rough or smooth. Always better on 100% cotton. You just get a different rate of absorbency and movement on the page. But try it on whatever you've got. It's a fun way to go. So my paints look like they're juicy and ready to go. I want my paints wet enough that they've reactivated the pigment so that they're the consistency of probably heavy cream, maybe not quite heavy cream, but you don't want it too watery. You've already got water droplets on the page, so really all you want to add is pigment to that water. So the thicker the pigment, the richer the pigment, the better for this instance. So I'm going to start by spurtling, and often I do this, I try to make a pattern in the shape of a letter or a number or something. But I'm going to put lots on this page just so we can get lots of practice on how this happens. Okay. When I do these, I don't worry about trying to get a sky in the background. I like the white, the contrast that the white gives. So those water droplets are pretty much covering the page randomly. There's some thicker, some thinner. This one up here I can see is quite a large blob, and I don't care for that, I don't think. And I'm going to start with my Mayan dark blue. I'm just going to move, whoops, move that because I cannot see there, my paint. And I want to make sure that my paint is at that consistency where I want to use it. So I've spattered some on here. You can see where it's already hit some water drops. And that happens. So thick, thick, thick. Mayan dark blue is my starting one, starting color. And I'm just going to go down and I'm going to follow a line, imagining that this is a tree trunk. But I'm not going to make it a consistent line, and I'm going to take my time. I'm going to let my brush just touch the surface of those water drops. The pigment will pop in, and you can see where things are starting to sort of fill in those water drop areas. Now, if we connect some of those drops along the side, and I try to offset them a tiny bit. The tendency often for our brains, as I've said before, is to create patterns, and we want a pattern, but it's going to be a random pattern. So I see a lot of folks tend to put one branch on each side of the tree at equal levels, and that's just not the way things occur in nature. So I'm starting, at the top of the tree with shorter bits going out. And as I get further down, I'm sitting back and looking at the water drops and just barely touching the tip of my brush into those little droplets. All right, so they're not complete lines. I don't want complete lines. I want something that's loose, and it's going to give you the impression that, yes, there's a tree happening, right there before your eyes, and leaving a lot to the imagination, wider as we go down, and thicker. Some of these droplets, and I'm not tipping my page, but some of the water droplets sort of have come this way a bit, and that's okay. That sort of gives you another aspect of the shape, right? Now I can go back in with even thicker pigment and enhance some of these spots. I just love how they're kind of wonky and random. It's up to you. You can add more, you can add less. But as you go along and sort of start building and filling in your forest, you'll be able to see how things change. So let's try a different color. Let's try Undersea Green. Again, I am just touching my paint. Let's see if I can get this. You can maybe see that it's glistening. It's not, this is watery, this is puddling here. We're not going to worry about that level of color. But you can see how the water is slightly pooled, but it's not watery looking. So I can dip my brush in one or two times just to fill that tip. I don't need to fill the whole brush. I'm only filling the tip because that's what's going to allow the water to drop when it touches that, or the paint to drop once it touches that water. So there's a fairly large droplet there. And so let's see where that takes us. So we're giving sort of the tree shape, you know, branches coming out side to side and a bit of a trunk. Now when the colors come together, let them join, let them blend. Look at that magic that happens when the two colors start to play together in that water. And just by adding that thick, beautiful, rich pigment, you get those lovely, lovely shapes and lovely colors. By allowing the water that's on the page to just engage with those pigments and with the other droplets, it just makes it pure magic as far as I'm concerned. Now here I have a thicker drop. I might just encourage that to come out a tiny bit on the sides. Use your mind's eye. Think about how, you know, how the colors can blend together and how lovely they can look, and how, you know, how some trees are a little more sparse than others. Some are thicker. But we all get we all know what a tree looks like. It has that basic outline, that basic shape. Let's try a Quinacridone Gold, because I know when it starts to play around on the page, it really does want to engage with other colors, right? With other pigments. You can see here where it's attached itself to that one drop, and that's moving up a little bit, and that might become another tree. I'm not putting the same intensity of pigment in each water drop either. Some are thicker, some is thinner. Now this, as you go along, I wouldn't put much more of that gold in just because it's a strong color. But you can see where it's actually attached itself to another set of water drops. And we can go in with another color. Let's go back to our Mayan dark blue. Nice and thick on the brush. And add it to some of that gold. Let's see where that takes us. It should blend to a lovely greenish color. I mean, you could do the rainbow. You could do all kinds of colors. I like to limit mine to generally 3 colors at the most. If I decide at some point I want to spice it up a little bit, I will add another color. Sometimes a little bit of a surprise, maybe a pink or a purple. You can see here where the blue and the Quinacridone Gold have blended together, and you do get a really lovely green. You can go back in and add depth of color, depth of pigment into some of these spots to create a bit more interest, a bit more intensity. You can see where, you know, as the water on the page has become a little more, well, it's soaked into the page a little bit more, right? The water, the paper is absorbing it a little bit. It's reacting a little bit differently. Some of the droplets have joined together. And you can put, you know, smaller trees in, sometimes when you get near the bottom, you can use the side of your brush just to create a bit of a basis. And I think what I want to do now is just show you one more color. And let's try Moonglow. I have sort of gotten away from my Moonglow a little bit recently, but it is one of my favorites. And there's not a lot of water left on the page, but let's see what we can come up with here. So the Moonglow is a softer purple. It's not the vibrant royal purple, but it does have a granulating effect, and when it does move out, you can see where there are bits of blue and pink and other colors in that Moonglow. Nice and thick. Get some color in there. Putting the Moonglow in with a bit of the gold, just to show you how when they blend together they create this sort of grayish brown gorgeous color. And you can fill in your forest. This is where that larger splotch of water was, and when that dries, it will be just gorgeous. And I think now we'll just, the Mayan dark blue is just one of my favorites, as I've mentioned. And I can just go in and add that just here and there to some of those other colors. These three colors and the, pardon me, and the Moonglow really do play well together. Allowing the paint, the paper, the water to just relax into each other can help you create a really interesting, I think, effect. It's how I love to start my vignettes. It's how, pardon me, I very often will do my background trees in paintings. Give it a go. See what happens on your page. Keep the water droplets random. Keep them enough on the page so you can play around with the water. As you can see now, if I was to add water to this at any point, it would change how the shapes of the trees have come together. So you want to avoid that. You want to try to make sure you get as much of the water droplets on the page as possible at the beginning. I hope you've enjoyed this close-up look at how water and pigment on a page can play together and create beautiful shapes. And I mean, who knows? There could be things that they create other than trees. I love that possibility. I'd like to thank the Process Art Discovery audience for joining me today. We took a close-up look at water, pigment, playing on a page. This was creating trees, but who knows? There could be other things that appear for you. Give it a try. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to the channel or head on over to the members area.